My name is Jason, and this is Just Watches. All right, today we have another Orient. This one is dubbed the Maestro. This is a really fun entry-level mechanical piece that's a great alternative to the many different styles of Bambino that Orient makes. And I think this one might be a bit more versatile than the Bambino as well, but more on that later. So as always, we're going to do specifications, pros, cons, and then if I think this watch is worth the money. Before we start, I have noticed that only 5% of my views are from subscribers. So if you like this channel and you haven't yet subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you did. Thank you so much. So starting with the case, we have 40mm in case diameter. It's 46mm lug to lug. It's only about 12mm thick, and then you do have a 20mm lug width here. The finishing on the case, you do have a high polish bezel, and then the top of the case is brushed with, again, high polish on the sides. There's a nice curve down to the lugs which help with the wear. Overall, the finishing on this is acceptable in what you would expect to find at this price point. The stock 3-link bracelet features an all-brushed finish, begins at 20mm and then tapers down to 18mm before jumping back up to 20mm on the all-brushed clasp. It does feature the Orient logo and is double push-to-plant, just pressed metal here, kind of what you'd expect at this price point. However, unfortunately, there's no micro positions on this clasp, so finding the right size on this bracelet might be difficult for some. Sizing is accomplished with just standard push pins, and then the end links on this one are hollow. Now the watch features a screw-in exhibition caseback, and this helps provide 100 meters of water resistance. The movement there is the Orient F6722, which is a hacking, hand-winding, 21,600 vibration per hour movement with a 40-hour power reserve. It also features the date complication. I do like they finished the rotor there with the Orient logo and some nice line work, Orient Watch Company, 21 jewels on the rotor there, and there's some other interesting details like that skeletonized ratchet wheel. The crown is just a push-pull style, all high polish, but you do see it is signed with that Orient logo. It's a little bit small for my taste, but it does work fine for operating and winding the watch. The crystal is a flat mineral crystal, and it does sit a bit proud of the case, and you'll notice the edge of the crystal is faceted, which is really cool. It adds a little bit of visual interest and some nice distortion across the dial. It reminds me a little bit of my King Seiko. So the dial is this pearlescent white. It has a slight sunburst effect you might be able to see in the studio lights here, and they left it very simple. You have the Orient logo at 12 o'clock. The 3 o'clock position holds the date, and that's basically it for the entire dial. I like the simplicity here, and I think it leads to this watch being very versatile. The indices are applied, and while they look black in many lighting conditions, you'll see as the studio lights kind of play across them, there's this very vibrant blue. It looks like a heat-treated blue. Obviously, at this price point, I don't think these are heat-treated. They use some sort of paint or whatever to accomplish that effect, but it's very well done, and it matches very well on the hands and the indices. They also designated the minutes with small dashes around the edge of the dial. Now, I'm not entirely sure what you would call this handset. I guess it's a syringe style almost. They're very long, very thin and elegant with a small tip there at the end on the hour and the minute hand. I also like how long they are. The minute hand is reaching all the way out to the dashes for the minutes, and the hour hand is long enough that you can tell which hour it is, and it's kind of reaching almost all the way out to the indices for the hours. The second hand has a small counterbalance. Overall, I really like the effect of the hands and the indices with this very simple and plain dial. Popping in on the Timegrapher here, these Orient movements do have tighter tolerances than the Seiko ones, and it might just be anecdotal, but I do get pretty good rates out of Orient and Orient Star movements. You can see here just +3 seconds a day, healthy amplitude and minimal beat error on this particular model. And there it is on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. 40mm I think just adds to the overall versatility of this particular piece. It kind of is going to be just right on a multitude of wrist sizes. And then just to show you how you could dress this watch up, here it is on a black leather strap. I'd probably go blue here, but I actually don't have a 20mm blue strap. But you can see it just kind of changes the character of the watch, makes it a lot more dressy on that leather strap. And since we're doing a fashion show, here it is on a brown leather strap. Yeah, I just think you have a lot of options for dressing this watch up or down. You might even be able to throw it on a NATO, but I think it's a very versatile piece. So pros and cons. Well, for pros, this is a highly legible, versatile design that can be dressed up or down. I think they went with a great choice with that 20 millimeter lug opening. A lot of times Orient does 19 millimeters or 21 millimeters, which really limits the variety of straps that you can purchase. 20 millimeters, you're going to have no shortage of options for this watch. And then the price. Right now, the white dial is really expensive on Amazon, but I think these can be had for around $130, which is a great deal if you can find it at that price. The cons then, there's no micro adjustments on the bracelet, and the bracelet overall is a bit flimsy. I think it's what you would come to expect at this price point, but maybe factor in the cost of this watch getting an aftermarket strap that you might want to put it on. So is this watch worth the money? I think yes. The only downside really is that bracelet, and I think you can get a strap for this no problem. Orient movements are frankly better than Seiko ones when it comes to their tolerances, and like I said, it's anecdotal, but I've had very good results from Orient movements. You have 100 meters of water resistance here, so it can pass as a dressy watch, but you don't really have to baby it around water. This is an ideal first mechanical or a great gift for someone that might be interested in mechanical watches, or maybe you just want to pick it up for your own collection. Either way, I definitely recommend it. I almost forgot to mention, you guys, this watch comes in a bunch of different colorways, so check them out. So let me know what you guys think about this watch in the comments below. As always, if you're liking the content of this channel, I invite you to subscribe. And if you like the contents of this individual video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. That is all for this time. My name is Jason, and you have been watching Just Watches.